Hello and welcome to Red Pride Stadium on the campus of Plainfield High School. I'm Steve McAtee and I'll be bringing you all the action as your 10th ranked Plainfield Quakers challenge the number one ranked and four-time state champion New Palestine Dragons in the opening round of the Indiana High School football playoffs. Well, it's been a good but not great season for your Quakers, who enter this game with a record of 7-2. They started off the season 5-0 and were ranked as high as number 3, but lost two of their last four games and were often inconsistent throughout the season. They had a lot of great moments on both sides of the ball and on special teams, but they struggled with inconsistency, slow starts, rushing defense, and failing to sustain drives. Tonight, after a week off, Plainfield will try to play its A game, and they'll need it because their opponent is the New Palestine Dragons, who entered the game undefeated, ranked number one here in Class 5A, receiving all nine first place votes, and having won four state championships in the last 11 years. And get this, they've won their nine games by an average score of 52 to 3.6. Now, so far this season, Plainfield has rushed 291 times and passed 253 times, a ratio of 1.1 to 1. Junior quarterback Bryce Savance, a second year starter, has completed 149 out of 253 passes. That's 58.9% for 1,716 yards, 20 touchdowns, and seven interceptions. His leading receiver is the biggest surprise on the team, junior Xander Natam, who has 72 receptions for 828 yards and 13 touchdowns. He's followed by sophomore Cohen Vanderbush with 19 receptions for 221 yards and one touchdown. Running back Luke Starnes with 16 receptions for 194 yards and one touchdown. Senior Mason Beers with 17 receptions for 184 yards and two touchdowns. And sophomore Austin Ward with 18 receptions for 141 yards and two touchdowns. On the ground, senior and three-year starter Luke Starnes has rushed 210 times for 1,321 yards and 13 touchdowns. He became Plainfield's all-time leading rusher 2 weeks ago against Martinsville and now has 3,845 career rushing yards. In addition, senior Corin McGill has rushed 29 times for 114 yards, and quarterback Bryce Savance has rushed 30 times for 100 yards and one touchdown. Meanwhile, New Palestine has rushed 251 times and passed 126 times, a ratio of almost exactly 2 to 1. Senior quarterback Jacob Davis has completed 80 of 114 passes, that's 70.2%, for 1,420 yards, 19 touchdowns, and only one interception. His leading receiver is junior Mason Oglesby, who has 25 receptions for 344 yards and five touchdowns. Close behind are junior Cale Butler with 18 receptions for 341 yards and four touchdowns. Junior Landon Maddox with 14 receptions for 303 yards and four touchdowns. And senior Cameron Rollison with 11 receptions for 210 yards and two touchdowns. On the ground, the Dragons are led by senior Caden Jacobia with 16 rushes for 763 yards and 11 touchdowns, followed by senior quarterback Jacob Davis with 70 rushes for 606 yards and nine touchdowns. Senior Josh Raines with 27 rushes for 282 yards and four touchdowns, and junior Cade Stevens with 20 rushes for 208 yards and one touchdown. Head coach for Plainfield is Tyler Bless, who's 22-8 in his third season with the Quakers. Head coach for New Palestine is Kyle Ralph, who's 150-14 in his 13th season with the Dragons. He's won four state championships, five semi-states, seven regionals, and nine sectionals. Well, at this time, we'll take a short break for a few words from our sponsors, and then we'll be back with the opening kickoff. Plainfield, New Palestine playoff opener coming at you live under the Friday Night Lights. Next. This broadcast of Plainfield Quakers football on audiosportsonline.com is brought to you by the generous support of our sponsors. We would like to thank them, and we hope you will support them. They are Frigid Frog, New Wave Solutions, Ganell Financial, Crone Family Construction, Adrenaline Fundraising, Crest Point Real Estate Coach P. Chris Pearson, Selwith Jones of the Stewart Home Group, Remax Centerstone Julia Berberich, Flora Brothers Painting, I-70 Wrecker Service and Garage, Units Moving, Portable, and Storage. And at that, we will pause for the national anthem. Well, thank you to Plainfield for that lovely rendition for the national anthem. And now let's get back to thanking our sponsors. Um, Once again, this broadcast of Plainfield Quakers football on audiosportsonline.com is brought to you by the generous support of our sponsors. We would like to recognize them and we hope you will support them. They are Frigid Frog, New Wave Solutions, Ganell Financial, Crone Family Construction, Adrenaline Fundraising, Crest Point Real Estate Coach P. Chris Pearson, Sell with Jones and the Stewart Home Group, Remax Centerstone Julia Berberich, Flora Brothers Painting, I-70 Wrecker Service and Garage, Units Moving and Portable Storage, Haynes Roofing and Remodeling LLC, Headquarters Barbershop, Edward Jones Chris Hoskins, Ellison Associates, and BGW Construction and Legacy Motorsports. Thank you, sponsors. Your support of the student athletes of Plainfield High School is greatly appreciated. Well, back here at Plainfield, we're just a few minutes away from starting off this playoff opener. And I'll tell you, you know, anytime, um, we're getting ready to do the tournament draw. I'm always hoping, of course, that Plainfield gets the easiest draw possible. And of course, last year, at least for the first round, we did. We drew a home game in week one with Anderson, by far the worst team in our sectional as they are this year. And, sure enough, we got a 63-8 win. So it's always good when Plainfield gets a tournament win. But at the same time, this week this year we got the hardest draw. We got the unanimous number one team here in Class 5A, New Palestine, and you know if you aspire to be the best program in the state, as Plainfield does, then you can welcome the chance to beat the best team in the state and prove yourself. And obviously, I hope Plainfield wins this game today. I think realistically they can. New Palestine is ranked number one, but we're no slouch. We're ranked number 10. And, there are several reasons why I believe Plainfield can win this game. We're going to be by far the uh, toughest opponent that New Palestine has played since week two, and they played Decatur Central. And even then, though New Palestine did win that game by a score of 28-6, it's important to remember that Decatur Central in that game was just revamping its was just revamping its offense after starting quarterback Bo Polston suffered a shoulder injury the week before. And in fact, when we played Decatur Central in week six, Polston played some in the game, but he still was not back to 100%. And they played their best in that game when they had backup quarterback Braylon Morris starting. Um, so anyway, since then, New Palestine has played nothing but 4A teams plus 1 3A team, Delta, in the regular season finale. Delta, by the way, being Matt Painter's alma mater. And, in eight of New Palestine's 9 regular season games this year, they played with a running clock. And in 7 of them, they played with a running clock for the entire second half. So what I'm thinking, if we can stay on the field for long periods of time and their defense is playing, far more than it's accustomed to playing, you know, I'm hopeful that we can, wear them down and take and take control of the game. But anyway, for me, I think there are 3 things that Plainfield needs to do to have a fighting chance to win this game. First of all, no turnovers. Second of all, no points left on the field. That's been maybe our biggest, certainly one of our 2 or 3 biggest problems on the year. A lot of drives that we got well into opponents' territory, even in the red zone, came away with no points. A lot of turnovers on downs. Um, so if we can have no turnovers, no points left on the field, and if we win the time of possession battle, I think we have, a very solid chance to get out of here with the upset win today. And it's important to remember, I mean, this would be an upset if Plainfield were to win, but it would not be a monumental upset. John Harrell's Indiana High School football website, which I go to literally hundreds of times in the course of every season, um, picks New Palestine to win this game 38-21, which would be New Palestine's smallest margin of victory on the year. So it's not like, the experts are expecting this to be a blowout or a running clock game. But anyway, Plainfield now entering the field with a couple of guys holding American flags. And, one thing I love about Plainfield, this community is it's just to me this is a community that epitomizes what America is all about, and nine of the Plainfield players are holding an American flag on their senior posters here. About half of our seniors, so that's just great to see. Um, and I hope these kids win tonight. But regardless, um, this is a school and a community that does a great job preparing kids to enter the world, and a win, will make this sweeter. But certainly, these kids, the seniors on this team have had a great career. They were freshmen, when the school won only a second state championship 3 years ago. They won at least 6 games every year. Um, Counting all 4 years, they've won 28 games, which I believe I need to check the exact figure, but I think that's probably one of the 3 or 4 highest 4-year totals in program history. Now, the captains from the team shake hands at the, I guess you call the Plainfield coat of arms there at the center of the field, getting ready for the coin toss. And right now, before we get started with this game, let's take a look at what the other Hendricks County teams are doing in the tournament tonight. Um, First of all, let's talk about the 3 teams that played last week. The playoffs started last week for classes 1A to 4A. In 4A, the Danville Warriors improved to 6-4 after a 55-7 win over the Short Ridge Blue Devils. Tonight, Danville visits 7-3 and sixth-ranked Ron Colley, a 10-time state champion, formerly a staple on our schedule until Perry Meridian joined the Mid-State Conference in 2018. Well, Ron Colley was our Week 4 opponent. I missed that very much. In Class 3A, Cascade got its second consecutive 10-0 start after previously never starting better than 4-0. The Cadets got a 58 nothing win over the Indianapolis Washington Continentals. Tonight, we get a intra-conference matchup in the playoffs as Cascade visits 7-3 and 14th ranked Tri West. Speaking of Tri West, the Bruins won last week 35-14 at West Vigo, and like I said, tonight they host Cascade. And then in the upper divisions, Brownsburg, after finishing the regular season 9-0 and ranks number 1, and having won the Class 6A state championship last year, the Bulldogs should get an easy win to open the tournament tonight as they visit 3-6 Pike. And finally, rounding out the county, also in 6A, Avon finished the regular season 5-4, assured of its first non-losing season in 5 years. Um, tonight with a win, Avon would clinch its first winning season in 6 years as they host 3-6 Ben Davis. Um, the 2 teams played back in week 2 at Ben Davis in West Indianapolis, with Avon winning 35-14. So the Orioles do appear to be the favorite tonight. Ben Davis having a relatively rare off year. Of course, the Giants usually a superpower. So now Plainfield will kick off 6:59 your time of day. 52 degrees the temperature here in Plainfield in the West Indianapolis suburbs. We had a high of 57 today. Not bad for the opening round of the playoffs. The high a week from tonight for the next round is projected as 60 degrees, although there is a 70% chance of rain in that game also. So now the kickoff, Ethan Edwards. It's fielded right around the 12, right after the 15, 20, 25, 30, and he's brought down right around the 30. So now, what you need to remember about New Palestine is they don't have one particular star player. They just have a very strong cohesive unit. They have 4 receivers who have between 200 and 300 yards, and they have two rushers, one running back, one quarterback, who have between 600 and 800 yards. They're a very balanced team. So now they start off one running back, 3 receivers. I'm sorry, 2 receivers to the left, one to the right. Jacob Davis is their quarterback. He is a senior. He wears number 3. Takes it, hands off there, and he's up the middle for about 6. So that's going to be about 2nd and 4 there. So, 2nd and 4, 11:30 to go here in the first quarter, the playoff opener. So, two receivers to the left, one to the right, one running back. Davis in shotgun takes it, hands off again, and this time he's up. He's got the first down, about another 6. So, 2 rushes, 13 yards. First and 10 for the Dragons at the their own 42. 10:58 to go. One receiver to the right. And now the keeper there by Jacob Davis, the quarterback. He's got room on the left side, past the 45, 40, and he could, and yes, he is going all the way. So Jacob Davis, a very dangerous rusher. Um, it only takes a minute and 18 seconds for the Dragons to open the scoring in this game. So very concerning start for Plainfield. Now what they got to do is just stay composed. Stay composed. It's easier said than done, but now on the extra point, Evan Walker on the extra point is up, and it is good, not by much. It was not a good looking kick, but it did get over the upright. So anyway, 3 plays though, and an easy touchdown there by New Palestine. I've been pronouncing it New Palestine for all these years, and then I talked to one of their personnel before the game, and he was very, very, very gracious. He went up to me and introduced himself, and I thanked him for all the game notes that they left here at my table here in the Plainfield press box. And I mentioned it was my first time commentating New Palestine, and he very politely and pleasantly told me the correct pronunciation is New Palestine. So uh, there you go. And yeah, and Liam just told me that um, yeah, that the country that many of us call Palestine is actually pronounced Palestine. So I just learned something new. Okay, he said in Arabic it's Palestine. So Liam always Liam always a great wealth of information here. So now Plainfield, it only took them 78 seconds to fall down 7-0. We can't fall in. We just got to take our time. Last year in the playoff opener, I hold that thought. So a deep kick, and it's fielded around the 7, right up to the 10, 15, looking for a hole. 20, it gets just past the 20. Did the ball come out? I think the ball came out. No word yet. I haven't seen any word yet on who has it. All right. So Plainfield dodges a bullet there. They do have it. They'll take it over at the 20. We've got to be composed. Last year, after we went down 7-0, we gave the ball to Luke Starnes on our first drive. He went about 30 yards, but he looked like he was in such a state of urgency to score. I think he was just trying to get a few extra yards, and he fumbled. And Decatur Central, on their ensuing possession, got another touchdown, made it 14-0, and that set the tone for the whole game. They rolled 35-7. So now hand off to Starnes to start off. He's got a little bit of room. He gets up for 3 or 4. So let's see. They give him credit for only 2. I thought he got a little more than that, but that gives us a little bit of urgency to get several more yards here. But 2 receivers to the right, one to the left. Starnes, the running back. Sabance in shotgun, second-year starter, the junior quarterback, gives it to Starnes again. But this time they're right on top of him, and he's brought down right around the line of scrimmage. So that puts us in a dreaded 3rd and long. Not a good position to be in. I don't like what I'm seeing. Okay, and they're giving them -2 back to the original line of scrimmage. So Now facing an almost certain pass, the Quakers, they've got to be careful. Got to be careful here. Three receivers to the right, one to the left. Starn still in there at running back. Sabanson shotgun. Lano looks over the sidelines. 8 seconds left on the play clock. 9:24 to go. Plainfield already down 7-0. So Saban drops back. They blitz him and they bring him down for a second. The ball, I think the ball came out. If even if not, it's fourth and long. So yeah, the Plainfield retains possession, but it's 4th and 15 after that -5 sack by Sabance. So now the pressure cranked up on the Quakers defense. If we go down 14-0 against these guys, we are in trouble. So he gets the Tucker Mitchell gets the punt off. Nobody back deep to receive it. It takes a little bit of a Plainfield bounce past the 50, and it's down to the 48. So that's a punt of 37 yards there for Tucker Mitchell. So the Dragons take over in good field position, nearly in Quaker territory. They're throwing 48. 8:30 to go. A New Palestine already with a 7-0 lead after a 58-yard touchdown rush by quarterback Jacob Davis. 6'3", 195. Doesn't throw a lot, but when he does, he's very efficient. Completes 70% of his passes, 19 touchdowns, only one interception on the season. The sound of a sign of a very fundamentally sound player. So now three receivers to the right, one to the left. Handoff there, and I believe that's Jacoby, and he's got some room on the left, and he takes up for about 5. Hayden Jacobia again carrying for New Palestine, gets 3 on that one. I have him 3 for 16 now. And now we've got an official timeout. I don't know what the issue is. Okay, well, okay. The problem is that somebody in the car's got their lights on, their headlights on, and the officials have asked they be turned off. I don't know if they think it's interfering with the game, but okay. Wow, what if they can't find the owner of the car? I don't know. I've never seen this situation before. A couple of games ago, 3 weeks ago, down at Whiteland, it was the blackout. It was the blackout, and now tonight we got the car the delay of game. I've been watching football for 47 years now. Since I was 7 years old. I'm 54 now. I've never seen a football game stop before because a car had its headlights before. I've never before seen a football game postponed because the a car had its headlights on. So this has been a season of a couple of firsts for me then. So now anyway, New Palestine 2nd and 7 at the Quaker 47, already leading 7-0. Quakers gotta be careful to make sure they don't fall in early. Now one receiver to the right, Jacob Davis, and now he's got some room on the right side, and he's got a first down and more past the 35, past the 30, down inside the 30. So that's about 20 yards there by Jacob Davis. His first rush was 58 yards for the touchdown, and that's going to be good for it looks like 19 here. Wow, we a couple of guys went in after him, and he found a hole, and he was gone. Not for the touchdown, but for 19 yards at least. So now the Dragons, three receivers to the left, one to the right. Low snap, and now another rush by Davis, and he gets up for about a 6 or 7. Davis, a good size at 6'3", 195, very good quarterback size. 7:06 to go. 7 yards there. So Jacob Davis, undoubtedly the player of the game in the first 5 minutes. 3 rushes, 84 yards, and a touchdown. Second and 3 now for the Dragons. Two receivers to the left, one to the right. Davis drops back, throws for the first time in the game. He goes into the end zone, and it is incomplete, just through his arms. First pass of the game for either team, in fact. Third and 3, boy. If I assume New Palestine's in 4-down territory here, but if we could get out of the stride without getting a touchdown, that would be a relief. Two receivers to the left, one to the right. Jacobia, the running back. Davis takes the snap, hands off to Jacobia. He's got the first down and more, and it gets inside the 15. He's brought down after picking up about 8. Jacobia, he is a senior, 5'10", 194. So they apparently his knee touched the ground at the 18, but nevertheless he did pick up the first down. I have him 4 for 19. So New Palestine in the first 6 minutes already over 100 yards rushing between Davis and Jacobia. So two running backs now. Now fakes the handoff, and now Davis takes it up himself, and I think he got in. He was, yes. Oh no, we were in trouble. But now we got a. There is a flag. There is a flag. I think it's coming back. Apparently, it is. Yes, holding against New Palestine. Very, very big break for the Quakers. They were looking at going down 14-0 here, barely halfway through the first quarter. So now, as it is, it's going to be coming back. That is the first penalty of the game. Round one of the playoffs here. Plainfield ranked number 10. Or New Palestine ranked number 1, undefeated, 4 state championships in the last 11 years. Currently on a 23-game winning streak. So they're going to mark it 1st and 8 now at the 13. Now hand off there to Jacobia, and he's set at the line of scrimmage, but he plows his way forward and gets about 5 there. So it's going to bring up 3rd and short. Give him credit for 5 there, bringing up 2nd and 3. Very critical stand for the Plainfield defense. 2nd and 3 at the 12. We just can't afford to fall in. We got to keep our composure. And now 5 on the clock, on the play clock, and there's a whistle here. False start against New Palestine. So New Palestine. So two penalties by the Dragons, one of which negates the touchdown. The other one takes it from 2nd and 3 to 2nd and 8. That being said, the way these guys move the ball, 2nd and 8 is about like 2nd and 2 for a lot of teams. I have New Palestine 9 rushes, 111 yards, and the touchdown. So 2nd and 8 now for the Dragons at the Plainfield 12, 4:46 to go in the first quarter. And now Davis takes her on the right side, and he could go all the way. Did he get in? I couldn't tell from my vantage point. I I'm I think okay. They're saying he stepped out at the 3. Nevertheless, it's a gain of 9 yards there. So I have him Davis 5 for 98. So he's nearly gotten 100 yards. No, they said he did get it. Okay, I apologize when they were setting it there for the extra point, so I could not tell from and now the extra point whistle did. But so Davis does have over 100 yards then. I didn't see the official signal touchdown. It looked to me like Davis got in, but there was my view was obstructed because it was at the far side of the field. So anyway, Evan Walker under the extra point. He was good on his first one. Um, this one is up, much better kick than the last one, and it is good. So your Plainfield Quakers, dead silence here from their crowd. Um, after two rushing touchdowns by Jacob Davis, one from 58 yards, the other from 12. We have a decent crowd here for Plainfield. In the colder weather, not as good as we've seen in the past. You know, we had, I think, um, around 2,500 Quakers fans for the first four home games. It dropped to about half that 2 weeks ago for the regular season finale, in large part because it took place during fall break tonight in chillier conditions. It looks like it's about what it was a couple of weeks ago, about half the usual crowd. Meanwhile, I give the Dragons fans a lot of credit. I think about 500 of them have made the trip, which I believe is about an hour from here in New Palestine. I think 40 miles or so east of Indianapolis. Now we got to get something on this drive. That's all there is to it. Got to make it a one possession game, get right back in it. Deep kick. It's taken near the end zone. At around the two. Oh, he drops it. He picks it up to the five. He's got a hole, and he made something out of nothing. He got nearly back to the 20. So Starnes, could have been a disaster after he mishandled um, the kickoff, but he did pick it up and got some positive yardage out of it. So the Quakers start the drive at the 19. They were 3 and out on their first possession with a net gain of -5. You got to do better than that this time. So three receivers to the left, one to the right. Starnes, the running back, Sabants in shotgun. Sabants throws left, and it's incomplete. It's a short pass. That's his first attempt of the game. Austin Ward, the very promising young sophomore, was the intended receiver. Each quarterback has thrown once and for an incompletion. So 2nd and 10 for the Quakers at the 19. We've got to stay out of another 3rd and long like we got in last time. So now hand off to Starnes. He's got it looked like he had a hole, but a couple of Dragons filled it, and he's brought down right around the line of scrimmage. So it looks like they're bringing him down for right on. They're saying he was brought down to the line of scrimmage. So Luke Starnes, 3 carries, 0 net yards. Now, last time, when it was 3rd and 10, Starnes was sacked for -5. Um, we got to do better than that. So they got to send 3 receivers to the left, one to the right. Starnes, the running back. Savant's in shotgun, takes a snap, drops back, and he dodges a sack and takes it. He throws it deep downfield, but and he's got a catch inside the 50 up to about the 40. All right, boy, that was Xander Natam about 40 yards. That's the kind of play we need. All right, boy, that brought this crowd to life. 41 yards there on the play. All right, we can do this, boys. 1st and 10 now. Quakers at the 40. It looked like a desperation pass. Natam got it. So now that hopefully that'll be a game changer. 2 receivers to the left, one to the right. Drops back. Now throws deep down the left side, and it's overthrown. It's overthrown. Okay, it's just regroup, boys. 3:16 to go here in the first quarter. New Palestine 14, Plainfield 0. But the Quakers are in business after that 41-yard pass from Sabants to Natam. 2nd and 10 now at the New Palestine 40. Beards lining up to the left, Natam and Ward and One other to the left, Starnes, the running back. Sabans in shotgun. Now takes the snap, hands off to Sabans. No, fakes the handoff. And then Sabans gets it up for about 6 or 7. Good fake there. Good fake. All right. So that'll bring up 3rd and short. And we are obviously in 4-down territory. They give him credit for 6 there. So 3rd and 4 for the Quakers at the New Palestine 34, trailing 14-0. 2 receivers to each side. Starnes, the running back now. Now a handoff there to Starnes, and he's got the first down and more up to about the 25. So Starnes' first good gain of the evening. So we're starting to have some success moving the ball. This is probably the best offense that New Palestine's played for all year, has played all year. Starnes picks up 9 there. His first 3 went for 0 combined by my count. So 2 receivers now to the left, two to the right, 1 to the left, 2 running backs. Now Savant drops back, throws up the middle, and it's bobbled and goes to the ground incomplete. He threw it into double coverage, but we nearly had a reception there. Mason Beers, the senior, who's had some good moments down the stretch, was the intended receiver. Now 3 receivers to the left now, 1 to the right. Starnes, the running back. Savant's in shotgun. 2nd and 10 now. Hands off to Starnes. No, he fakes the handoff and gets it up himself for about 7 or 8 yards, but we do have a flag, so let's see what that's all about. So that's 2 very good fakes there by Sabans, but will this one count? First 2 penalties of the game went against New Palestine. Well, let's holding this one against the Quakers, so that will be coming back. 2:02 to go here in the first quarter. Plainfield started off like they were going to get massacred and that we were going to have a running clock game the entire second half. Now on their second drive, however, they are showing some promise, though they did have a setback there with that penalty, that holding penalty. Let's see where the ball is spotted. Second down. We know that much. So it'll be now 2nd and 20 from the 35. 2:02 to go here in the first quarter. 7:23 your time of day. Weather-wise, it's a fairly pleasant Halloween evening. A very clear sky. Got a high today of 57 here in Plainfield, 52 shortly before kickoff. So 2 receivers to the left, 1 to the right. Starnes, the running back. Sabans takes it, gives it to Starnes. He's got a little bit of room, gets and he spins around, gets about 7 yards. Still, it's going to be far short of the first down. So it'll be 3rd and 13 at about the 28. I have Starnes 5 for 16 now. Obviously, the Quakers in 4-down territory. So now they send D'Amato, Ward, and Natam out to the left. I believe that's Beers to the right. Starnes, the running back, Savants in shotgun, takes it high snap. We bet he gets it over to Starnes, but they're right on top of him and they bring him down, possibly for a short loss. Boy, they telegraphed that play. The timing was excellent for the Dragons defense. There is a flag on the play, however, so let's see what that's all about. Okay, it's face mask against New Palestine. All right. So the ball comes up to the 23. Third and 8 at the 23 now. And the clock goes back in motion, 1:11 to go in the quarter. 30 on the play clock. Now we got a minute exactly on the game clock. So D'Amato and Natam go out to the left. Beers and I believe Ward out to the right. Starnes, the running back, 44 seconds now in the quarter. Savant's in shotgun. Snap, it's high snap, and he gets it. Drops back, throws into the end zone, and it's. Did he make the catch? I think he got it out of bounds. Yeah, I thought the time was going to be a little off. He did make the catch, but it was ruled out of bounds. That was Xander Natam, by the way, who has 13 receiving touchdowns and a rushing touchdown on the year. On the other side, Luke Starnes, 13 rushing touchdowns and a receiving touchdown. So Sabak has only completed one of his first six passes, though the reception was a huge one. It was for 41 yards. So now Beers and Ward out to the left. And now we got a whistle here with 32.2 seconds to go. I think the Quakers are going to take a timeout, and I don't blame them. You know, normally I like to save the timeouts um, for the last 2 minutes of the half, but this is a time where it is so critical that we score here on 4th and 8 at the New Palestine 23. Um, we got massacred on our first drive, gaining a total of -5 yards on 3 plays. Now on 3rd and 10 on this drive, um, Bryce Sabans came through in a big way with a 41-yard pass to Xander Natam. We've gotten the ball since then from the 40 to the 23, but it's 4th and 8 now. We can't squander this drive. You know, we've squandered a lot of drives this year. And fortunately, you know, we were against weak enough opponents that we were still able to win despite that. We're not going to be able to win like that in this game. We can't leave any points on the field. So anyway, two running backs now in there, and now we've got two receivers to the right, one to the left. Sabonson shotgun. Plainfield, it's best field position of the game. Subans takes it, drops it back. He's got time. And now he runs with it, but he's brought down after only a short gain. So the Dragons take over on down. So now the pressure cranked up on the Plainfield defense. Good effort. The Quakers moved the ball 58 yards on that drive, but it wasn't enough. 60 yards, excuse me. Sabant's 2 yards on that play. So the Quakers falling 6 yards of the 6 yards of what they needed for the first down. So now New Palestine takes over. 26.2 seconds to go in the first quarter with a 14-0 lead. They've scored very easily on both possessions, both times on keepers by quarterback Jacob Davis, who's an excellent rusher. The receivers to each side now. One running back. Makes a snap, drops back. He's got plenty of time. And now he dodges a sack there, and he throws deep downfield, and it is complete in past the 40. And now he takes it past the 50, and so that's going to be a gain of close to 30 yards there. That was Mason Oglesby, the leading receiver on this team, the first complete pass for the Dragons in this game. Oh, it's coming back. No, excuse me. Sorry, the penalties against Plainfield, so it's not coming back. Excuse me. It was personal foul roughing the passer. Boy, and so it had you had 15 yards to the 30 yards. Man, very concerning start, especially if the Dragons get a three possession lead here. 13.4 seconds to go in the first quarter here at Plainfield, playoff opener. Three receivers to the right, one to the left now. Now the Jacobia going left as well, and now another short pass to Oglesby, but this time they're right on top of him. He's brought down around the line of scrimmage, and that'll end the quarter. So, very concerning start to this game after one quarter of play here at Plainfield. Your Plainfield Quakers trail the new Palestine Dragons here in the playoff opener 14-0. We'll be back after these words from we'll be back after these words from our sponsors on audiosportsonline.com. This broadcast of Plainfield Quakers football on audiosportsonline.com is brought to you by the generous support of our sponsors. We would like to recognize them and we hope you'll support them. They are Frigid Frog, New Wave Solutions, Gunnell Financial, Crone Family Construction, Adrenaline Fundraising, Crest Point Real Estate Coach P. Chris Pearson, Selwith Jones and the Stewart Home Group, Remax Centerstone, Julia Berberich, Flora Brothers Painting, I-70 Wrecker Service and Garage, Units Moving and Portable Storage, Haynes Roofing and Remodeling LLC, Headquarters Barbershop, Edward Jones, Chris Hoskins, Ellison Associates, and BGW Construction and Legacy Motorsports. Thank you, sponsors. Your support for the student athlete of Plainfield High School is greatly appreciated. Well, back here at Plainfield, we're about to start the second quarter of this playoff opener with your Plainfield Quakers trailing the new Palestine Dragons by a score of 14-0. New Palestine has the ball now, 2nd and 16 at the 40. At the Plainfield 40, excuse me. So now, obviously, the Quakers defense in a high pressure situation, trying to keep the team from going down by 3 possessions. 2 receivers to the right. Now low snap, but Davis gets it. And he's got some room on the left side. He's got the first down and more, and he could go all the way inside the 15. And I think they're saying he stepped out of bounds inside the. Let's see where they. He took it all the way in the end zone, but I think he stepped out around the 8 or so. Okay, they said that he apparently earlier than I expected, so they're moving it to the 15 now. Nevertheless, a 25-yard pickup by Davis, who already has 2 touchdowns in this game. I have him 6 for 126, by the way. Obviously, he's going to be playing college ball somewhere a year from now. So 2 receivers to the right, and now hand off there to Jacobia, and he gets inside the 10. So let's see here where they mark him. Save him credit for 9 there. So now 2 receivers to the right. Now hand off there to Jacoby again. He drives forward. He's going to be short of the end zone, but he's got the first down. That was Josh Raines there on the carry. Give him credit for 2. So it's 1st and goal at the 4 now. And now, did he get it? So they give it to Raines, and he's got it for the touchdown. So your Plainfield Quakers in trouble as they go down three scores, 20-0 with the conversion pending, 10:57 to go in the second quarter. We're not out of it yet, but we got to get something going and fast. Extra point by Evan Walker. Snap. And now the plays whistle did. I think there's some movement. Well, Quakers did move the ball fairly well on their second possession, but they're going to have to do more than move the ball well. They're just going to have to score. Or, this is going to be a running clock, for the entire second half. And that is not the way I want the season to end. If we're going to lose this game, I want us to at least give it a tough fight. I want to let me rephrase that. I don't that didn't come out the way I wanted to. Um, and now the extra point is up and good, so it's 21-0. Well, what I meant to say is if we're going to lose this game, I want us to at least, I want it to at least be, solidly competitive. And right now, so far, it has not been. Um, right now, we're on pace to get massacred. Hopefully, hopefully it won't turn out that way. But we just got to get something going in one possession at a time. And I want to see urgency, but I also, eh, you know, um, to quote John Wooden, I want us to be quick, but don't hurry. Just come back one score at a time. 157 to go in the second quarter. But one thing that the one good thing about playing the number one team, in your class, even if they beat you badly, at least it does teach you what you need to work on in the off season. And I'm going to be talking about that in the post game show. So deep kick fielded about the 6, right up to the 10, 15, running with a lot of urgency, and he's brought down right around the 20. That was Starnes, hoping that this will not be his final high school game. What a career he's had. Um, over 3,800 rushing yards, um, over 4,000 all purpose yards, over 40 touchdowns. Okay, so the Quakers start off the drive at the 23 receivers to the left, one to the right. Starnes, the running back, takes it, and he's got a little bit of a hole, and he breaks through, and he's got a first down, so that's the longest rush of the game for the Quakers. That brings some life out of this crowd. Starnes probably one of the 3 or 4 best running backs that New Palestine has played against this year. They give him 11 there. I have 7 for 27, nearly 4 a carry. Certainly not bad against the number one team. So now we got Beers and D'Amato to the right, one receiver to the left, Starnes, the running back, Savants in shotgun, 10:20 to go. Plainfield trailing 21-0 here in the second quarter. Savants takes it, screen pass, and he made the catch. Did he get both feet in bounds? Okay, I guess he got it out of bounds. I could not see his feet from my vantage point. Unfortunately, it was right here, the near sideline. Savant's only 1 for 7, though the one reception did go 41 yards to Natom. So now D'Amato and Beers out to the left, Natom out, Natom to the right, Beers and D'Amato to the right, and now hand off there to Starnes. He tries to find some room on the right. He's got a couple of yards, but might get 3. So bring up another dreaded 3rd and long. Can only give him credit for 2, so a 3rd and 8. I have Starnes 8 for 29. So Cohen Vanderbush, a very promising sophomore in the game now there at wide receiver. He lines up to the left along with Xander Natom and Austin Ward. Meanwhile, I got another receiver out to the right. I believe that's Beers. Takes snap, drops back, and he fakes and now he tries to run with it, but he's brought down, I think, for a slight loss. It'll bring it 4th down. I guess we'll punt. I'd almost be tempted to go for it here, even though, gosh, that was a 5-yard loss, bringing us back to the 29. Well, Now, so now Mitchell with a punt, and it's fielded about it's downed by Plainfield around 35. That's about 36 yards, which is about what his first one was for. So the Dragons take over at their own 35 with a 21-0 lead, 8:42 to go in the second quarter. Dragons, 8 of their 9 regular season games ended with a running clock. 7 were played with a running clock for the entire second half. I don't want us to be in that company. Take solace. No matter what happens today, this program is moving up. It's on the right track. This game might be a setback, but it's not a dead end. I promise you that. We're going to keep getting better. Just keep the faith. So now, starting the next drive, complete pass over to the left side for about 8. Landon Maddox on an 8-yard reception there from Davis. Yeah, Martinsville, if I remember correctly, had 3 receivers named Landon, and now New Palestine has 1. Second and 2 for the Dragons. Handoff there, and I think he's got the first down. He does, yeah. And that's Jacobia there. Give him 4. I have him 7 for 35. 7:51 to go here in the second quarter, and this playoff opener, New Palestine with the ball and a 21-0 lead, showing why they are the unanimous #1 team here in Class 5A, why they've won 4 state championships in the last 11 years. Um, Now 8 on the game on the play clock. Excuse me. Now hand off there to Jacoby again, and this time, and he's got a breakthrough and gets up to the Plainfield 40, but we do have a flag down, so let's see what that's all about. Holding against New Palestine, so it is coming back. So good break for us. Well, when I saw, even though New Palestine is not a huge passing team, right, they're a huge rushing team, but even though they're not a huge passing team, when I figured that this was going to be a tough fight. Well, maybe the statistic that impressed me the most is Jacob Davis, the quarterback for New Palestine, 19 touchdowns, only 1 interception, even though he mostly just throws short passes. But when you have a 19-1 touchdown interception ratio, I mean, God, you're an absolutely extremely good fundamental player who's not going to give a game away. And now, so now throws deep down the middle. He's got a man open, and it is an amazing catch. There is a flag, but I think it's going to be pass interference against the Quakers. That was Maddox. He caught it inside the 20, so that'll be a gain of about, if it counts, it'll be a gain of 37 yards or so. Well, they said it was incomplete, but let's see what the flag's about, though. It looked to me like he had it. Okay, it's going to be a okay. Well, it's a 10-yard penalty against the Dragons. They're showing it now, 1st and 10 at the. Okay, I'm confused again. Okay, now they're saying it's pass interference against the Quakers. So definitely, I think there's some confusion there between the officiating crew and the scoreboard operator here. So now the Dragons have it in Quaker territory at the 48, 6:39 to go in the quarter. Plainfield does get the ball first to start the second half. We got to try to keep the Dragons off the front. We got to keep the Dragons from scoring the rest of the half. There, as Davis fakes the handoff and takes it up himself for about 5. Davis already over 100 yards and 2 touchdowns tonight. I have him 7 for 131 and 2 touchdowns. The touchdowns coming from 58 and 12 yards. He's a very intimidating physical presence there. So two receivers to the right, one to the left, 2nd and 5 at the 43 for New Palestine. Under 6 minutes to go in the half now. And now up to Maddox. Short pass completed. I think they're going to give him forward progress out to the 38, which is where he needed to get to. Davis has completed 4 of his first 5 passes. Give him credit for 7 there. So 1st and 10 at the Plainfield 36 for New Palestine. 3 receivers to the left, one to the right. Low snap, and but he gets it up himself and takes it past the 30, and he's out of bounds just shy of the 25. So he's going to be very close to the first down. He might have it by the skin of his teeth. So after the rare fundamental mistake by New Palestine on that low snap, Davis makes something out of nothing, gets 9 yards there. Certainly the MVP of this game so far. 2nd and 1 at the 27 now for New Palestine. 2 receivers to the left, one to the right. 1 running back. 10 on the play clock. And now handoff there, and he's got him. And now he could go all the way inside the 10, inside the 5, and he's got the touchdown. That's Jacobia there, 27 yards. And now it is New Palestine 27, Plainfield 0 with the conversion pending. I just want to see some fight out of these kids the rest of the way. I want them to play like they're mad as hell. And I want them, if they're going to go down, I just want them to go down, putting up a ferocious fight, showing that they're already starting to play for next season. And now the extra point is up and good. So 28-0 now. The Quakers in danger of a running clock for the entire second half. Well, I give New Palestine all the credit in the world. I was hopeful that maybe their number 1 unanimous ranking was overblown because they played a schedule that's quite a bit weaker than ours. I mean, if we played their schedule, okay, we lost to Decatur Central, our one common opponent. Well, we would beat the other 8 of New Palestine's regular season opponents easily. We wouldn't even have one close game, probably, of those 8. I mean, the regular season opponents, let me read them off for you. Besides Decatur Central, Kokomo, Yorktown, Mount Vernon, Pendleton Heights, Greenfield Central, Shelbyville, Newcastle, and Delta. All right. Well, let's close out the half. Let's get a touchdown this possession, then get the ball first to start the second half. Get another touchdown, make it 28-14, and we'll at least be in relative striking distance then. I don't want to see the guys, look, frustrated and just, you know, and quit. I want them to just fight like hell, act like they're the maddest they've ever been in their lives. So anyway, the kickoff taken. Oh, and no, he drops it again. Oh no, he picks it up, but he doesn't get very far. Maybe to the 12 or 13. That was Xander Natom. So Natom and Starnes are 2 best offensive players. Each has mishandled a kickoff tonight. I hope that this isn't just psychological. Obviously, we're not used to getting manhandled like this. We lost to Decatur Central by 18. We lost to Whiteland by 10. We're down by 28 now. And now two receivers to each side. And now it's short pass. And it's brought in for a touchdown. Intercepted. Oh no. I believe that was Cameron Rollison, yeah. Oh my God. So now it's 34-0 with the conversion pending. So two touchdowns in 12 seconds for the Dragons. Oh my God, this is terrible. So if they make this extra point, then um if Plainfield does not cut into the lead, then it's a running clock for the entire second half. I don't want that. You know, we last year's game ended with a running clock against Decatur Central. I don't want us to go out like that again. Man, the extra point is up and it is good, so it is 35-0. So we're in danger of a running clock for the entire second half. Well, be thankful that first of all, I try to avoid profanity in my life, and even more so when I'm on the air, and I have a lot of questionable young Quaker fans listening, and I don't want to set an example, but I mean, yeah, it's you know, the strongest thing I ever said on the air 2 years ago in the Whiteland game. I think we were down by 14 in the third. I think it was in the third quarter. We were down by 14, and we had the ball deep in their territory, and we lost a fumble at the one. It went into the end zone for a touchback. And after several seconds of disbelief, I uttered, "Gosh frigging darn it!" And I didn't even remember saying that, so I got a big kick out of it when I went back and listened to it. But God, this is one time when it would feel good to let out a string of obscenities. But Lord help me to keep my composure here. Last week, a week ago tonight, I was on vacation, um, and hold that thought. Another deep kick. Got to get something going here. Takes out the 10. He's got some room. Oh, okay. He's got a hole past the 35, and he's brought down. There is a flag, however. That is our longest return of the game. Got a couple of officials deliberating now. Um, Holding against the Quakers, so it's coming back. All right. Let's get a touchdown. Avoid that running clock. Avoid that running clock. The receiver seat side now. Hand off there to Starnes, and they're right on top of him. And he's brought down around the line of scrimmage. So Starnes now likely playing in his final high school game, barring an extraordinary comeback. I don't know what the all-time biggest comeback in Indiana high school is, and they got him for -2 there, so I have him 9 for 27 and even 3 a carry, which is probably one of the better showings of a running back against New Palestine this year. 4:28 to go. Still two timeouts. Green pass, he's got some room on the right side. Xander and Tom got it. I think he just got a couple of yards though. Nevertheless, that's only the second complete pass for Plainfield in this game, and it only goes for 2. The first one was to Natom for 41. That one to Natom for 2. 3:53, 3rd and 10. No, they changed it to one, so 3rd and 11. Got to do something big here. Our only big play of the game so far came on 3rd and 10. This is 3rd and 11, and now I think Plainfield's taking a timeout. But at that time, right now with Plainfield trailing 35-0 here late in the with 3:30 to go in the second quarter. Let me finish that thought. You know, a week ago I was on vacation. It was actually my first full-fledged vacation in 13 years, not counting 2 or 3 day, not counting 2 or 3 day weekend trips. Um, I went to Kentucky, Tennessee, the Virginias, and Ohio. And while I was in Kentucky, I went down to a little town called Pineville and visited a seminary that my great grandfather started. I never met my great grandfather. He died in 1955, 70 years ago, 15 years before I was born. But he started this seminary called Clear Creek Baptist Bible College, and I went down there with my son and told him that we were the great grandson and great great grandson of Dr. Lloyd Caswell Kelly, the founder of the school, and they gave us a full 2 hour tour. They're very, very gracious. And so, thinking about being at that place, it, yeah, they even gave us several souvenirs, T-shirts, coffee mugs, and even a couple of bags of the school's own line of coffee. But anyway, thinking about being that um, at that place, it curbs my desire to spout obscenities. So that's a good thing. So maybe that thought will just make my behavior um, more proper the during times like these that try my soul. All right, so Plainfield trying to get something going here. 3rd and 11 at their own 26. Screen pass. It is complete, but he's brought down for a loss. That was Starnes. That's a 2 yard loss there. Bringing up 4th and 13. I say go ahead and go for it. That's your only chance probably to avoid the running clock. Because if we do not get any points the rest of the half, then and now yeah, we punted. We wish we would not have. And this one, it's a weak punt, and it runs out of gas after only 23 yards at the Plainfield 46. So likely likely going to a running clock for the entire second half, which means um, and now, if trying to look at a bright side about it, I guess we'll be put out of misery early. But yeah, this is not the way I wanted to end the season. I came into the game thinking we had maybe a 1 in 10 chance to win, and I really mean that. And I think if we played this team 100 times, I think we could beat them 10 times. But unfortunately, this was one of the 90. And the disappointing thing to me isn't the loss as much as the way we're losing. Um, so now over to Jacobia, he gets about 5. No, I'm sorry, that was range there. He had a touchdown earlier. Excuse me. He picks up 5. So 2:24 to go in the half. 8 o'clock your time of day. So Plainfield season has come apart here in the hour that this game has been going on. One receiver to the left. And now low snap. He gets it off to Rains again. Picks up about 10 yards. Got the first down. Yeah, he does have 10. Also had a touchdown earlier. So 1st and 10 at the Plainfield 30 for New Palestine, leading 35-0, 149 to go in second quarter. It is a very, very painful game. Um, One receiver to the left. And now they give it to Reigns this time. This time, This time they stop him for maybe two or three. Yeah, I just, I hate to see New Palestine disposing of us the way they have, a lot of weaker opponents than us. So three receivers to the right, one to the left. And now handoff there, and he's got through on the left side. He's got the first down inside the 15. And I think he's got it in the touchdown. And we got a late flag here. Okay, they're counting it as a short forward pass. Yeah, I guess it was a lot forward. And it was to Maddox. But no, I'm sorry, to Oglesby, excuse me. But there are flags, so let's see what they're all about. If the play counts, it will be a 27-yard touchdown pass from Jacob Davis to Mason Oglesby that will make the score 41-0 with the conversion pending. But let's see what the face mask on Plainfield. So, okay, they said he was out of bounds at the one. So, Davis only 6 passes, but he's completed 5 of them for 66 yards. And now we got a whistle here with 54.4 seconds to go. Offsides against the Quakers, half the distance to the goal, which is, I guess, just a few inches now since it's at the one. And now we've got false start against New Palestine, though, so it backs it up 5 yards from first and goal at the one to first and goal at the 6. Oh man. Well, you know, um, all right, one receiver at each side, one running back. Davis in shotgun now. Takes a snap, hands off, plows forward. I think he's got two or three. That was Reigns under 45 seconds to go now. Yeah, I wish we'd gone for it on that last. I think him credit for three there. Is bringing up second and goal at the 3. And now, oh, he's did he get in? Yeah. So Josh Reigns. Okay, they said he did break the plane. It looked like we had him short, but he dove and he broke the plane. They said. Well, there is a flag though. Again, okay. There is a flag, so let's see. And now two more flags. Okay, the touchdown counts, but there's two flags after the touchdown. That will be the second touchdown of the game for Josh Reigns. So 4 touchdowns here in this quarter for New Palestine, and they up the lead to 41-0 with the conversion pending. Officials, we got all 5 officials. I can't tell if there are 4 or 5 officials, but they're all standing in a circle. They're all deliberating now. So let's see what happens here. Well, this is going to make a very long off season. Specifically, it's going to make a very long next two. Hold on. unsportsmanlike conduct against Plainfield. I think what's probably happening is our kids are losing their composure in this humiliating loss. Well, this is going to make the next 294 days very long days. 294 days is how long it will be before Plainfield plays again when they open up the 2026 season right here, hosting Terre Haute South. It's now high snap, but the extra point is nevertheless up and good. 6 for 6 on extra points for the Dragons tonight. Well, you know, when you love someone, you know, you go through everything with them, the ups and the downs, and it's easy to stick with these kids when they're winning, which they did a lot this year. 7 games, they won 7 games out of 10. It's a lot harder to stick with kids when they lose, but these kids they've they've worked so hard, since they started youth football in third or fourth grade. They have spent thousands of hours, you know, um, they've spent thousands of hours training to be Quakers, and they've given us some of the greatest times in program history. And this very painful loss doesn't change that. Um, so let's let's just keep loving and supporting these kids, and we thank the seniors as they move on, to many great things in their lives, and that certainly being a part of a program like this does a lot to help prepare you for life. Sports are like a microcosm of life. They're so good for kids for so many reasons. And so now they're I think they're trying to figure out where the kickoff. I think the unsportsmanlike conduct penalty is going to be assessed on the kickoff. But let's see here. You know, what's happened in the last hour? It's very painful, but it doesn't change my love for these kids. It doesn't change the pride that I have. Wearing this red pride shirt that I have on right now. Um, so you know, just if you're here, in the stadium listening on your mobile device, go up to the kids after the game, especially the seniors, and just say thank you. So now a squib kick here, and now it's a live ball. We better get it so that he picks it up. And he tries to find some room on the right side. Gets up to about the 20. 19.6 seconds to go in the half. That was Callahan. He's going to be one of our biggest losses, probably our biggest defensive loss. He's a senior. He has 4 interceptions, including the touchdown return on Bo Polston back in the Decatur Central game. Oh my God! Now handoff there to Starnes, and he's up for maybe one. And it looks like that'll be the end of the half. Yeah, after pickup of one by Starnes. So that'll end the first half. So your Plainfield Quakers, a disastrous first half. Um, and as they head toward the locker room for the last halftime of the season, and what will be a very short second half under a running clock. Um, your final score here tonight. I'm sorry, your halftime score here tonight is New Palestine 42, Plainfield 0. We'll be back with a recap and some other thoughts after these words from our sponsors. You're listening to Plainfield Quakers Football on audiosportsonline.com. This broadcast of Plainfield Quakers Football is brought to you by the generous support of our sponsors. We would like to recognize them, and we hope you'll support them. They are Frigid Frog, New Wave Solutions, Ganell Financial, Crone Family Construction, Adrenaline Fundraising, Crest Point Real Estate Coach P. Chris Pearson, Selwith Jones and the Stewart Home Group, Remax Centerstone Julia Berberich, Flora Brothers Painting, I-70 Wrecker Service and Garage, Units Moving and Portable Storage, Haynes Roofing and Remodeling LLC, Headquarters Barber Shop, Edward Jones, Chris Hoskins, Ellison Associates, and BGW Construction and Legacy Motorsports. Thank you, sponsors. Your support for the student athletes of Plainfield High School is greatly appreciated. Well, back here at Plainfield, we're at halftime in this very, very painful playoff opener with your Plainfield Quakers trailing the number one ranked New Palestine Dragons by a score of 42-0. It's a game in which New Palestine has scored a touchdown on every possession, and Plainfield has only gotten one good drive going, and even then it ended in a turnover on downs. On the third play from scrimmage of the game, New Palestine quarterback Jacob Davis took it in 58 yards for a touchdown. Evan Walker was good on the extra point and has been good on all 6 extra points. With 4:38 to go in the first quarter, Davis got his second touchdown, this one from 12 yards out, making it 14-0. With a 10:57 to go in the second quarter, Josh Raines rushed 4 yards for a touchdown, making it 21-0. With 5:17 to go in the quarter, Caden Jacobia took it in for a rushing touchdown. Then on the first play of the ensuing drive, Bryce DeBonce threw a pass that was caught, and it was intercepted by Cameron Rollison of New Palestine, who returned for a touchdown, making it 35-0. And finally, with 25.4 seconds to go in the quarter, Josh Raines scored his second touchdown of the game. This one from 3 yards, and it brought us to a current score of 42-0. Look at the individual statistics first of all for Plainfield. Bryce Sabance has completed 3 of 10 passes for 40 yards, no touchdowns, and 1 interception. Xander Natam has 2 receptions for 42 yards. Luke Starnes has 1 for -2. Luke Starnes has rushed 10 times for 28 yards. Bryce Savance 4 times for -2. So 66 yards of total offense for the Quakers in the first half. Meanwhile, for New Palestine, Jacob Davis has completed 5 of 6 passes for 66 yards. Mason Oglesby has 3 receptions for 51 yards. Landon Maddox 2 for 15. On the ground, Jacob Davis has 8 rushes for 140 yards and 2 touchdowns. Hayden Jacobia 8 for 62 and 1 touchdown, and Josh Raines 7 for 30 and 2 touchdowns. So because New Palestine has at least a 35-point lead, 42 to be exact, the entire second half will be played with a running clock, meaning it'll get over in just about half an hour. So anyway, I'll give some thoughts in a little while. Before we finish the first half. But first, I want to check out some other scores tonight that are going on that I think are going to be of interest. Let's see here. Oh, trying to get this, trying to load here. Okay. Well, as expected, Cathedral will be playing New Palestine for the sectional championship 1 week from tonight. It will be at New Palestine. Cathedral is leading Anderson 54-0. So Anderson, lost by 55 to us last year in the first round of the playoffs. Now they're losing by 54 in this one. Meanwhile, let me see how my alma mater is doing here. The Madison Cubs. That's odd. I mean, Madison had a really bad regular season. They were 1-8, and yet they actually got a playoff win last week. they got they've had the good fortune of drawing Owen Valley, who actually had a slightly better regular season record than did Madison. Owen Valley um, ended at 2-8, but Madison beat them 47-14 at Madison last week. However, tonight Madison losing um, to Indian Creek by a score of 19-0. The Braves entering the game with a record of 6-3. They've been a very good Class 3A program for the last generation. So anyway, then let's see if I can get some other scores from the Mid-State Conference teams here. Um, um, Decatur Central playing their first playoff game in Class 6A, easily leading North Central 28-0 in the second quarter. Perry Meridian, on the other hand, at the end of a disappointing season, trailing Warren Central 42-0 in the second quarter. And Martinsville, apparently, after only a 3-6 regular season, headed for the sectional championship game. They beat Greenwood last week 35-31 in an all mid-state conference matchup. Tonight, the Artesians are beating the Pirates 21-0. But Charlestown actually entered the game at 8-2, but playing a much weaker schedule. Charlestown's in southeastern Indiana, I guess just about 15 or so miles north of Louisville. Um, I remember they played my hometown, well, my alma mater, Madison, in football when I was growing up. So anyway, so 8:07 to go on the halftime clock. Basically, obviously I want Plainfield to score and avoid the shutout, but even more than score, I just want them again. I want them to play like they're mad as hell, like they've got a chip on the shoulder, like this is the first half of the 2026 season. Like like they're gonna play the rest of the game with the fight they're gonna show us in 2026. You know, I talk about the Rocky and Creed movies a lot, and um, some of my favorite bits of dialogue from those movies are what the trainers say to the fighters in the corner between rounds. Their motivational speeches. And maybe my favorite is in the first Creed movie, which came out on Thanksgiving. Hard to believe that the movie will be 10 years old this year. It came out Thanksgiving Eve. Yeah, Thanksgiving Eve 10 years ago. And I remember, in between rounds of in the climactic fight in which the title character fights against his against the light heavyweight champion of the world, Pretty Ricky Conlon. Rocky says to Adonis Creed, "Bring back everything that's ever hurt you, all the pain you felt inside." And um, it's when we hold on to pain that sometimes it motivates us to do better. And believe me, it is no fun to go into the off season, with this kind of humiliation. But I just hope that it makes these kids feel like they're going to do whatever it takes to make sure that they never lose like this again. You know, building a program the magnitude of New Palestine, it doesn't happen overnight. It takes many years of having a dedicated booster program, of starting the kids in youth football in third or fourth grade and just training them relentlessly for years, getting them in the weight room, teaching them to play together, uh, to sacrifice themselves for each other, to trust each other, to use the to use their strengths to compensate for their teammates' weaknesses. Everything it takes to win, and you know we've got to look at why New Palestine has done as well as they have. I mean, they've only lost 14 games in the last 13 years. They've won 4 state championships. and we just have to train with everything we have. I remember when the Los Angeles Lakers were eliminated, I think it was by the eventual champion San Antonio Spurs in the 2003 playoffs after the Lakers had won three consecutive championships. Kobe Bryant said in the post game interview, "Next season starts right now," and that is the approach that these kids have to take. You know, so you know we've got 294 days to get ready for next season. Um, we have 364 days to get ready for our next playoff game. We have to use each of those days to the best of to the best of our ability. Training and with all of the kids training alone, doing their running, their push-ups, their weightlifting, everything, and then working together, building their chemistry. And if they do that, they can slay this demon. And for a point of reference, let's go back to um, to the last super humiliating loss in program history, which was 4 years ago in the playoffs in the first round against Cathedral down at Key Stadium on the University of Indianapolis campus. They beat us 54-7. Um, and, you know, um, the next year we came back. We got down in the first round of the playoffs at Harrison. We were down by 7 with about 6 minutes to go. It was 4th and 18 at Harrison 39, and Hunter Newell threw deep to Grant Irwin for the touchdown to tie it. And then on the next possession, on Harrison's ensuing possession, they fumbled. Harrison Herbeck of Plainfield picked it up, ran it in for a touchdown. Then the next week, we're down 10-0 in the fourth quarter to Decatur Central. Grant Irwin um, intercepts a pass from then freshman superstar Bo Polston, takes it in all the way for a touchdown, making it 10-6 after the conversion fails. Then, with 1.3 seconds to go, we're down with 6.3 seconds to go. We have it fourth down and I think 5 or 6 on the Decatur Central 19. Newell passes to Noah Hessing in the end zone um, to give us only the second sectional championship in school history, and best of all, um, a sectional championship for Brian Woodard, who was in his farewell season, his 17th season as head coach, 26th season with the program, previously 6-0 in sectional championship games as head coach. So, you know, having a horrible end to one season, it doesn't mean that you can't have a great end to the next season. Or another example, you Purdue fans, you remember the humiliation um, in 2022, losing to losing to St. Peter's in the round of 16 in the NCAA tournament. Then the next year, losing in the first round to Fairleigh Dickinson, but then coming back. So, I mean, in consecutive NCAA tournament games, they lost to a 15 seed and a 16 seed, but then they came back the next year and got all the way to the national championship game. Um, or Virginia. In men's basketball in 2018, they became the first team ever, the first one seed ever to lose to a 16 seed in the men's tournament, and they came back and won the national championship the next year. So we just have to think about things like that. Um, you know, so fifth loss, yes, it hurts. Yes, it's disappointing. It's heartbreaking, but it's it's only it's only it's only a bump in the road. It's only um, an obstacle on our climb up the ladder. It's not a dead end. Um, so there are better days ahead, and you know, just stick with these kids. I'm going to, um, and stick with these kids, and it will pay off because the best days of this program are still to come. And that year, whether it's next year or 5 years from now or 10 years from now, when we're at Lucas Oil Stadium on Thanksgiving weekend in the state championship game, you know, we will look back at this game as a turning point in program history, as a game that really fired up this program and made us decide, gosh darn it, we're better than this. We are never going to allow this to happen to a Plainfield team again. And you know, it's not going to be easy. Um, you know, it's just like you think about in the movie Rocky Four. You know, Rocky Balboa training up there in the snow in Siberia, climbing up the mountain. Um, it's not easy, but if it were easy, then it wouldn't mean anything when we achieved it. So you know, the kids, you know, they're going to have to put themselves, through the absolute limit of what they're capable of. It's said that the only way to achieve your potential is to try to exceed it. So um, we just gotta encourage the kids and just try to just keep telling them you believe in them and that that they can achieve great things. So now 107 to go on the pregame clock. Um, but yeah, I just want to see the rest of this game. I want to see a lot of fight in these kids. I want to see a lot of spirit. Um, and you know, I remember going back to the weekend. Usually I watch the tournament selection show. This year I was so tense about the whole thing. I did not watch it. I went to John Harrell's site a few hours after it aired and just looked at the brackets. I didn't want to sit there. They start with the 1A teams, then they go up each class, and it's about an hour and a half before they get to Class 5A. I didn't want to wait that long, just sitting there watching every bracket, waiting to see where Plainfield was placed. So it was just too nerve wracking. And then ever since the last game at Martinsville, even when I was on vacation last week, I kept on wondering what was going to happen tonight. I was hoping for the best. I will say I did not think it would be this bad. Um, I thought there was a good chance we would lose. I didn't think we would lose by this much. I mean, was there any pizza left? And once again, thanks to the Plainfield staff for all the delicious pizza that they served us this year. This year it was Donato's again for about the fifth year in a row. Okay, there's only one piece left and it has a banana pepper on it, so I will decline it then. I do not eat peppers at all. I think they're nasty. So anyway, um, fielded at the 10, the opening kickoff. Oh, they did a reverse here. Um, didn't fool anybody, but why not? Why not at this point? We're brought down around the 20, so the Quakers with a running clock will probably get about two possessions, maybe three. Let's just, let's just score here, boys. Well, I said that, even more than score, I want us to just show a lot of fights. So let's do that too. All right. So now handoff. I believe that Starnes is up the middle for about 5. Starnes picks up 5 there, trying to go out with a bang in his final high school game. Looking forward to seeing which college he chooses. 10:40 to go in the third quarter. New Palestine 42, Plainfield 0. Give it to Starnes again, and he's up close to the first down, bringing up third and short, which is one of the few third and shorts Plainfield has had in this game. They generally get stuck in third and long. Right now it's third and 4. Starnes 12 for 34. 10-12 to go now. Third and 4 at the 26 for the Quakers. 3 receivers to the left, 1 to the right. Savant's in shotgun. And now fakes the handoff. And Savant takes it himself, but he does not get the first down. He's pushed out of bounds after maybe picking up 1. So it'll bring up 4th down. What the heck? Just go for it. So this actually, they got him down for, for a slight loss, for a 1 yard loss. And, the punting unit is coming in. Maybe there'll be a fake. Coach Bless has tried 2 or 3 of those in his 3 years as head coach. So delay of game against Plainfield now. My alma mater now down 25-7. See what else is going on in the try to get some county scores here. So the punt does get off, and it takes a a really long bounce. This is going to be a 50-plus yarder. Goes down from the 20 to the other 24, so that's a 56-yard punt there by Tucker Mitchell. Well, I would imagine that Avon's probably not going to go out, to any great lengths to score, but who knows? I would imagine they'd want to get some rest preparing for Cathedral next week, which is, going to be far from a guaranteed win. Avon and Ben Davis in a very tight game, 13-12 the score in that one. So 3 receivers to the right, 1 to the left, 7:41 to go in the third quarter. And now we bring down the running back, that's Paige Stevens there. I believe that's his first carry of the game. He's brought down around the line of scrimmage. Second and 10 now for the Dragons. Well, hand off again to Stevens, and this time they bring him down for a loss. So now Plainfield at least showing some, at least showing some very good rushing defense. So now Stevens 2 for -5 here, bringing up third and 15. The Dragons have scored on every possession in this game. .621 to go and counting. Now handoff, and he's got some room on the right side, and he's gets up for about. Oh, and he breaks a tackle up to the 30, and he's got the first down. Oh no, Stevens again. Wow, that's embarrassing when you have them third and 15 and they rush for the first down. That is embarrassing. He got the 15 yards that he needed. And now we've got an injury, so the clock will stop for that. But yeah, when it's 3rd and 15, even God, even when it's playing in a running clock, and you're down 42-0, you just got to get them off the field. I mean that's a play that they've got to keep with them and remember that. Okay, Brownsburg leading Pike at the half 23-14. Um, let's see here. Carmel leading Harrison 49-0. I felt bad for Harrison having to move up to Class 6A. I don't think they're going to be very competitive there. Decatur Central leading North Central 28-7 in the second quarter. And by the way, for the sake of clarification, I do always cheer for the other mid-state conference teams in tournament play, obviously when they're not playing us. And of course, Perry, Meridian, Mooresville, and now Decatur Central, in addition to Martinsville and Greenwood, can't play us because they're not in our class. The only other 5A teams in our class right now are Franklin and Whiteland. So 2 receivers now to the right, 1 running back, and now a short pass, but it's going to be he runs over to the right. Short pass to Cale Butler there. Only a gain of maybe 1. .505 to go in the third quarter. New Palestine 42, Plainfield 0. And now a handoff there for a gain of about 3 or 4. I believe that was Stevens again. Yeah, Stevens. So give him credit, give Stevens credit for 4 on that one. Third and 6 now. The Dragons have scored on every possession. Now this time Davis under pressure. He gets rid of it, and it is out of bounds. So bringing up 4th and 6, but the clock will keep on ticking because of the running clock. East Central is leading Franklin in the second quarter, 14-7. Whiteland leading Columbus East, 21-7, also in the second quarter. So now looks like that's only the 8th punt all season for New Palestine, and we get the fair catch at the 32 or 33. So 3:20 to go in the third quarter. 8:40 your time of day. The season should be over by 9 for your Quakers. Let's get something going, boys. Let's finish the season on a positive note. Most of the crowd is still here. That's good to see. And that support means a lot to the kids. So handoff. Starnes gets up for 2 or 3. Credit for 2. Starnes 13 for 36. Hmm. So 2 receivers to each side, 2 running backs now. And I believe that was Corin McGill who got the. Yeah, that was Corin McGill with his first carry of the game. He gets about 6, bringing up 3rd and short. McGill had some good moments as Starnes' primary backup this year. Also had a 33-yard touchdown in the Anderson game last year. 3rd and 2 now at the 40. 1:45 to go in the third quarter. New Palestine 42, Plainfield 0. The Dragons will play Cathedral next week at New Palestine for the sectional championship. The receiver is one receiver to each side now. Now handoff again. I believe that was Starnes, and he's got the first down and 2 or 3 more. Very subdued crowd, understandably so. It's a 6-yard gain by Starnes. 5 to go in the third quarter. Now handoff for Starnes gets maybe 1. 45 seconds to go. Possibly just 1 play left in the. Give him credit for 1 there. Possibly just 1 play left here in the third quarter. Plainfield will end the season at 7-3. And now Sabant drops back. He's got some time. Throws deep now. Oh, he's trying to hit Mason Beers just through his arms. It would have been a gain of about 20 yards had it been complete. And Savant's only 3 for 11 in this game. And that will be the end of the third quarter. So as we head to the final quarter of the season, your score, New Palestine 42, Plainfield 0. We'll be back with the painful conclusion to the season after these words from our sponsors on audiosportsonline.com. This broadcast of Plainfield Quakers football on audiosportsonline.com is brought to you by the generous support of our sponsors. We would like to thank them and we hope you will support them. They are Frigid Frog, New Wave Solutions, Ganell Financial, Crone Family Construction, Adrenaline Fundraising, Crest Point Real Estate Coach P. Chris Pearson, Selwith Jones and the Stewart Home Group, Remax Centerstone Julia Berberich, Flora Brothers Painting, I-70 Wrecker Service and Garage, Units Moving and Portable Storage, Haynes Roofing and Remodeling LLC, Headquarters Barbershop, Edward Jones, Chris Hoskins, Ellison Associates, BGW Construction, and Legacy Motorsports. Thank you, sponsors. Your support for the student athletes of Plainfield High School is greatly appreciated. Well, back here at Plainfield, we're about to start the fourth quarter with your Plainfield Quakers trailing the New Palestine Dragons 42-0. The Quakers now have it 3rd and 9 at their own 47. Now Sabans throws deep down the right side, and that's clearly, clearly pass interference. The New Palestine guy had he was grabbed the player's jersey. It could not have been more obvious. So that will give the Quakers 15 free yards, and giving them some of their best field position of the game. And so that would move it to the New Palestine 38 with 11:18 to go and counting. Under a running clock, the clock only stops, I believe, for injuries. Maybe scores, I'm not sure, but not for incomplete passes or penalties. And now That's a gain of about 9 there. It's Kayvon Mew who had a touchdown earlier this season. He is a senior, getting some good action here in his final high school game. 10:25 to go. Picks up 9 there, first and 10, or for second and 1, excuse me, at the 29. Two receivers to the right now, two running backs. Now hands off to Starnes again, and he's okay. They said that Mew did get the first down, but Starnes, they got him there for no gain. So bringing up second and 10 now at the 29. Plainfield trying to avoid the shutout, trying to finish the season on positive notes. Now fakes the handoff, and now Sabanch rolls left. He's got Ward open. He's got it inside the 20 now, carries it down nearly to the 10. Ward with his first reception of the game. That's only Sabanch's fourth completion of the game. Gain of 18 there. First and 10 for the Quakers at the 11. Ward only the third Quaker to catch a pass. The Tom has two, Starnes one. So now short pass. It is. I believe that Starnes has it. It gets up to about the 5 or 6. Starnes picks up about 5 there. They give him better. Starnes, they give him a credit for Starnes third and Starnes takes it up for Starnes takes it up for 6, bringing up third and 3 now at the 5. Three receivers now to the right, and now picks the handoff, throws into the end zone, but it's going to be way overthrown. So Savants, now that we're gonna have assume the Quakers are gonna go for the touchdown here. Ethan Ellis has only attempted one field goal on the season. It was no good, and it wasn't from, I think it was from 26. It was early in the season. 7:28 now. No, they're showing still showing only third down. So now handoff, and oh, he tripped up. He tripped up. Okay, it was a short pass to D'Amato. Excuse me. I didn't see the I thought it was a handoff, but they're ruling it a forward pass. So I guess it was for 0 yards then. So fourth and 3 at the 5 for the Quakers. Now handoff. Makes the handoff, and he throws, and it's and there's multiple flags. So I think they're going to say it was pass interference. So that will be an automatic first down and half the distance to the goal. And now another flag, presumably for unsportsmanlike conduct. 5:57 to go in the game. Personal foul against New Palestine. Clocks the clock stops now with 5:45. Not sure what's going on here. But for those of you just joining us, .545 to go. When we resume play, it will be 4th and 3 at the 5. And now Plainfield takes a timeout here. I guess we need to make sure they don't squander this opportunity to score. My alma mater, Madison's now fallen behind 32-7. Well, okay, now they're showing a first down, so there was an automatic first down after the penalty. Then it's now showing 1st and 10 at the 5. There's been some there's been some confusion tonight between what the officials are calling and what's showing on the scoreboard, so I apologize for any confusion. Well, you know, I'll have a lot to say in the post game segment. A lot of it is just reiterating what I said in the halftime show with a few other things. I'm going to talk specifically about what I think this team needs to do to fulfill its potential to fill its potential next year. But anyway, okay, so okay, Ron Colley beating Danville 28-3, unfortunately. So now and Luke Starnes takes it in for the touchdown. So Plainfield avoids Plainfield avoids the shutout, and Luke Starnes playing his final home game hammers it in for a 1 yard touchdown. Bittersweet end to his high school career. So hopefully Plainfield, hopefully they'll get another score. But anyway, Ethan Edwards on the extra point, high snap, but he gets it down. The kick is up, and it is good. So 5:01 to go. Your score: Plainfield, New Palestine 42, Plainfield 7. The Quakers avoid the shutout. Um, and for if it's any consolation, four of New Palestine's opponents this year scored 0: Kokomo, Mount Vernon, Greenfield Central, and Newcastle. And Decatur Central actually scored less; they scored 6. And Pendleton Heights scored 6, and Shelbyville scored 3. So we've actually scored more in this game than 7 of New Palestine's opponents have this year. So I don't know how much consolation that is, but sometimes in a game like this, you have to look at the positives. And also, Delta, their last opponents, only scored 7. So only one team has scored more against New Palestine this year than we have. That was Yorktown, scored 10 against them. That was New Palestine's closest game. 35-10 was the final of that one back in week 3. I don't even know where Yorktown is, and I'm a lifelong Hoosier. So now it's a squib kick there. Oh, and he bobbles it, but downs it wisely.
Yorktown is about 50, is about an hour and 10 minutes northeast.
Liam just said Yorktown's about an hour and 10 minutes northeast of here. So anyway, I figured we'd go for the onside kick. Why not? But Liam said Yorktown's up near Muncie. Between Anderson and Muncie. 4:22 to go. Very big chance Plainfield will not get the ball back. Quarterback keeper. So 3 yards there on that quarterback keeper. .330 to go and counting. Now a handoff there. He gets about 3 or 4 up the middle. Three minutes to go now, 3rd and 6. 3rd and 6 for the Dragons. And now the clock runs out. So New Palestine took a timeout. Not sure why they would take a timeout with a 42-0 lead in this situation, but anyway. So Danville's season apparently will end tonight. They lead. They trail Ron Colley, the 10-time state champion Royals, by a score of 28-3. So now let me check to see how Cascade and Tri-West are doing tonight. So they've covered the other Hendricks County teams. Cascade leading 31-14. So the Cadets will advance to the sectional championship game next week, apparently, barring a major comeback. All right. Well, I'm sorry if I seem like the life was sucked out of me tonight, which it was, but it'll come back. It'll come back. So 2 receivers to the left, 1 to the right. Handoff there, and he gets up for about Cade Stevens there. He gives him about 10 yards. So that'll be another first down. So now I think the Dragons will be able to run out the clock from here, or at least close to it. So they might just kneel out the rest of it. But now Davis, and he rushes again, and he's past the 40, up to about the 47. So that's about a 17-yard gain there. I'm sorry, that's the backup quarterback, Ryder Gardner. He gains about 19 there. So it's good to see the backup quarterback getting some action there. 2 for 22 now by Gardner. First and 10 at their own 47 now. Now a handoff there, and he takes it on the right side, but he's brought down right around the line of scrimmage. There's Rudy Hubbard there on the cover for New Palestine. No gain. 52 seconds left in the season for Plainfield. And it looks like they're just going to kneel it out. They do. So the season comes to a very painful end for your Plainfield Quakers. 7-2 regular season, but they don't get a playoff win. Your final score here tonight in the opening round of the playoffs: New Palestine 42, Plainfield 7. We'll be back with a recap and a preview to next season after these final words from our sponsors here on audiosportsonline.com. This broadcast of Plainfield Quakers football here on audiosportsonline.com was brought to you by the generous donations of our sponsors. We would like to thank them, and we hope you will support them. They are Frigid Frog, New Wave Solutions, Ganell Financial, Crone Family Construction, Adrenaline Fundraising, Crest Point Real Estate Coach P. Chris Pearson, Selwith Jones and the Stewart Home Group, Remax Centerstone Julia Burbridge, Flora Brothers Painting, I-70 Wrecker Service and Garage, Units Moving and Portable Storage, Haynes Roofing and Remodeling LLC, Headquarters Barbershop, Edward Jones, Chris Hoskins, Ellison Associates, and BGW Construction, and Legacy Motorsports. Thank you, sponsors. Your support for the student athletes of Plainfield High School is greatly appreciated. Well, back here at Plainfield for a final time tonight, and unfortunately a final time this season, where your Plainfield Quakers have been eliminated in the first round of the playoffs in a very painful fashion. They lost to the number one ranked New Palestine Dragons by a score of 42-7. It was a game in which New Palestine um, scored a touchdown on all five of its first half possessions, as well as getting a defensive touchdown in that time. So the entire second half was played under a running clock. With 10:57 to go with 10:42 to go in the first quarter on the first play from scrimmage, New Palestine quarterback Jacob Davis took it in 58 yards for a touchdown. Evan Walker was good on the extra point, as he would be on all 6 extra point attempts tonight. That made the score 7-0. Then, after Plainfield went 3 and out on their first possession, Davis got his second touchdown of the game, this time from 12 yards, making it 14-0. Plainfield then started its ensuing possession, 3rd and 10, and then got their biggest play of the game when quarterback Bryce Sabance threw 41 yards deep to Xander Natam. That brought the ball from the Plainfield 19 to the New Palestine 40. However, the drive ended with a turnover on downs at the New Palestine 21, 6 yards short of the first down. And then on New Palestine's ensuing possession, Josh Raines got a 4-yard touchdown rush, making it 21-0. With 5:17 to go, Caden Jacobia scored on a rushing touchdown, making it 28-0. Then just 12 seconds later, the Dragons scored again on the first play of Plainfield's ensuing possession. Bryce Sabance threw a pass that was intercepted at the 5-yard line by Cameron Rollison and returned for an easy touchdown, making it 35-0. And finally, with 25.4 seconds to go in the half, Josh Raines scored from 3 yards. And the extra point made it 42-0 because New Palestine had at least a 35-point lead at the start of the second half. It was 42 to be exact. The entire second half was played under a running clock, and finally, with 5:01 to go, Luke Starnes got Plainfield's only score a 1 yard rush, and Ethan Edwards was good on the extra point, bringing us to our final score of 42-7. A look at the individual statistics, a very rough game for Plainfield quarterback Bryce Sabans, finishing his second season as a starter. He completed only 5 of 15 passes for 64 yards, no touchdowns, and 1 interception. Xander Natam had 2 receptions for, excuse me, I'm sorry, Savants had six receptions. He completed 6 of 15 passes. 6 of 15 passes for 64 yards, no touchdowns, and 1 interception. Xander Natam, by far the leading receiver, he had 2 receptions for 42 yards. Austin Ward, 1 for 18. Luke Starnes, 2 for 4. Devin D'Amato, 1 for 0. On the ground, Luke Starnes, 16 rushes for 45 yards and a touchdown. Corin McGill, 1 for 6. Kayvon Miu, 1 for 10. Bryce Sabans, 5 for -3. Meanwhile, for New Palestine, um, Jacob Davis completed 6 of 7 passes for 67 yards, no touchdowns and no interceptions. Um, Mason Oglesby Mason Oglesby had 3 receptions for 51 yards. Landon Maddox 2 for 15. Cale Butler 1 for 1. On the ground, Jacob Davis had 8 rushes for 140 yards and 2 touchdowns. Um, Peyton Peyton Jacobia had 8 rushes for 62 yards and 1 touchdown. Josh Raines, 7 rushes for 30 yards and 2 touchdowns. Cage Stevens, 6 for 24. Ryder Gardner, 3 for 21. And Rudy Hubbard, 1 for 0. So, in conclusion, this is a game in which, for Plainfield to win, they needed to they needed to win the time of possession battle. They obviously did not. They needed to leave no points on the field. They obviously did not. And, they needed to have no turnovers. Obviously, they did not. And even had they done all those things, it very well could be New Palestine so good the ball would have needed to bounce our way 2 or 3 times to have a shot to win. Nevertheless, we would have needed to play our A game. We did not. That being said, we actually scored the second most opponents that anybody scored against New Palestine all year. It's tied for second most. We tied um, with Delta, and we scored more than all of New Palestine. Yorktown scored 10, but then we scored more than all of New Palestine's other opponents. Even Decatur Central, they only got 6. We got 7. So if you're looking for any consolation, maybe that's a little bit. Nevertheless, a humiliating loss for Plainfield, a very painful loss. Um, it doesn't change the fact that this is a great program that's moving, in the right direction. It's one of the best 5A programs in the state. It's going to get better. Um, and you know, I think one thing about sports is that they're just so darn emotional. And that's part of their appeal. The emotion of sports is something that um, really makes sports so appealing to all of us, and why we take all these games so seriously. Um, but sometimes our emotions, cloud our judgment. And, like I remember you go back 20 years ago when the Colts lost to Pittsburgh in the first round of the playoffs after that 14-2 regular season. I just heard some of the most ridiculous comments about that game. Like we needed to break up the team. And my response was this: we would not have gone 14-2. We would have not. We would not have started 13-0 if we weren't doing a lot of things right. We just need to figure out what went wrong toward the end of the season. And sure enough, next year we came back and won the Super Bowl. And just like when Plainfield, like I mentioned at the halftime, when Plainfield got demolished, and it was worse than this. I mean, we lost this game by 35. Back in 4 years ago, our first round playoff game to Cathedral down at the University of Indianapolis Key Stadium, we lost that by 12 more points, 54-7. That was a 47-point margin. Um, and we came back and won the sectional, only the second sectional championship in the school history the next year. Um, so we can come back and win a sectional and more next year. But let's look at what Plainfield needs to do from here. Obviously, the most visible loss is going to be Luke Starnes. Over 4,000 career all-purpose yards, um, nearly 3,900 rushing yards, um, nearly 50 touchdowns, the leading rusher in school history. Um, it's going to be, obviously hard to find a good replacement for him, but at the same time, this is my 14th year with the program, and nearly every year when we lost a marquee running back under Brian Woodard, I thought, well, it's going to be really hard to replace this guy. And sure enough, we did. Coach Woodard, I always said, had a way of um, pulling running backs out of his hat. Nearly every year in the Woodard era, we had at least one 1,000-yard rusher, sometimes two. The only year I think we didn't since I've been with the program was 2021, when we had three freshmen starting on the offensive line, and our main running back Juan Nieto the third just didn't get the protection he needed, and he had gotten 1,000 yards the year before as a junior. I think he only got about 650 as a senior, but it wasn't his fault. So. If we have a guy who comes in and does even 70% of what Starnes did, Starnes got nearly 1,400 yards this year. If we get our running back coming in doing 1,000 yards next year, you know that'll be great. And um, and then other than that, you look at what we got returning. Bryce Sabans will be back. It will be his third year as the starting quarterback. And then you look at the receivers we've got. We lose Mason Beers, who had some nice moments down the road, but we return most of our leading receivers. We return Xander Natam, by far our leading receiver. He will be a senior, so it will be his second year with Sabans, and their chemistry should be even better than it was this year. They combined for 13 touchdowns this year. Um, and then we're going to have um, Austin Ward back. He had 2 touchdowns this year as a sophomore. Showed some great promise, as did another sophomore, Cohen Vanderbush, who also got a touchdown for us. And if Ethan Ellis, who was very promising as a sophomore last year, comes back strong and healthy next year, that'll give us another receiver. And so we should be loaded at the wide receiver and quarterback position. With that nucleus of Natam, um, Ward, Vanderbush, and hopefully also Ellis. And then of course Savant's being a 3-year starter at quarterback. So we should be well set, with our passing offense, and so we just need to get some good. We just need to get one good running back to supplement them and open up more doors for them to just by you know commanding enough defensive attention. We just need commanding enough defensive attention. We just you know need to get 1,000-yard rusher, and hopefully we will find one. Um, I will also say we do need to improve the kicking game. We need to improve the kicking game by a good margin. We had a lot of turnovers on downs this year. A lot of times we got into the red zone, came away with no points. One thing we need at the bare minimum next year, we need a kicker who can consistently, reliably hit field goals from at least 35 yards, preferably 40 or more, but even 35 yards. That means if we get to the red zone, we're almost guaranteed to get at least 3 points. Of course, you want to get a touchdown every time you get in the red zone, but very often, that very often the difference between 3 points and 0 points on a drive is vast. You know, 3 points, can force your opponent to go for the touchdown instead of a field goal, or it could be the difference between a one possession game and two possession game, or a two possession game and three possession game. And with every added possession that your opponent is in the deficit, it changes their game plan and makes it more likely they're going to rely on high risk plays, and that you'll be able to win by simply taking away the big plays. So, Ethan Ellis, he showed some improvement over the stretch of the season. If he continues to improve in the offseason, hopefully by next year when he will be a senior, he will be, he'll have that, kind of consistency where we can afford to go for more field goals if necessary. And of course, hopefully, we'll also finish more drives. We did have a problem with drive stalling, inside the opponent's 30 and especially inside the 20 this year. That's something that, we need to overcome if we're going to improve from being a good team as we were this year to being a great team next year, which we aspire to be. And I think have the potential to be. Well, I know we have the potential to be. On defense, we should be in good shape. We do lose to Sean Callahan. The senior had 4 interceptions this year, including the interception return for a touchdown against Decatur Central. But we also returned 4 of our 7 leading tacklers, which is very good. And we'll have Ty White back for 2 more years. The sophomore already has 8 interceptions to his credit, 5 last year, 3 this year. So we've got the talent. I guess the big question is the running back position and the kicking position, but I think I'm pretty optimistic that we have a good chance to get those in good order for next season. Um, and more than that, this loss it's never fun to lose this way. But like I said at halftime during the halftime break, a lot of times throughout history, and I cited just a few examples of the many, you know, the team has ended the season with a very painful, sometimes humiliating loss, but has come back strong to do great things the next year. And there's no reason that this Plainfield team can't, like they did, 4 years ago after losing, after they lost to Cathedral 54-7 in the tournament 2 years ago or 4 years ago. They came back the next year, won the sectional in Hollywood type fashion. Really, that was a whole Hollywood type playoff run combining the Harrison game and the Decatur Central game. And so we return the bulk of our important players, and now the kids need to take the approach that next season starts right now. They have 294 days. You know, when the 2026 season starts, they're going to be 294 days older, 294 days more physically mature, hopefully, at least 294 days wiser, and just ready to, build on the vast good they did this year and turn it into something even better to make it, to take everything that was good about the season and make it great and make it more consistent. Um, if these kids improve a year, like they should, if they work super hard every day and they you know remember the pain of this loss and they use that as motivation, as they use that to give them the determination that they're never going to let themselves lose like this again, then this loss is something that they can look back as a turning point, as something that turned boys into men and was a real impetus in taking this program to the next level. And finally, to all of you fans, thanks for tuning in all season. It's a great honor to bring these games to you. Whether you have a child or grandchild or nephew or boyfriend or whatever who plays for the Quakers. I'm glad to help keep you in touch with your loved one every Friday night. And we had a lot of great times this year, a lot more good times than bad. We were 7-3. Um, so we got 9 wins last year, 7 this year, so 16 wins over 2 seasons. That's I think their best. I'll have to look at the chart, but I think it's their best 2 year stretch since like '08 and '09, maybe. It's been a long time, well over 10 years and over that. So this program is moving up in the right direction. And overall, all signs are that, we should be an even better all signs are that we should be an even better team, that we should be an even better team next year. The kids just have to keep working together, working on their chemistry and then on their own time, just working out, getting themselves in the best shape possible, both physically and mentally. And, if we do that, then next year it can be even better than this one. And certainly we can have a lot more playoff games than just one next year. So anyway, in conclusion, it's easy to love people when they win. The test is when they lose, especially when they lose badly. But us Plainfield fans, we're loyal people. We love these kids, and we're going to support them and keep on encouraging them. And we're going to be back with a vengeance next year. Ready to cheer them on to even greater heights and move toward the greatest years of this program, which I believe with all my heart are still ahead. And you know, I'm going to remember the pain of this game, and these kids will too. But you know, sometimes there's a little known rock group that I like called Dakota, and in the liner notes of one of their albums, it said, "Sometimes pain is a reminder that you're still alive." Well, we're still alive, and Plainfield football's still alive, and so um, now we just have to come back next year with a vengeance and slay this demon. And when we do that, that doesn't mean that we'll look back with good memories of this game. It means that we'll look back knowing that this game was worth it. And finally, I leave you all with a line from a movie that I don't think I've ever quoted before. It's the last scene of the movie Back to the Future Part 3. This is what I'd tell if I were Coach Bless right now in the locker room. This is what I would tell the kids. Um, your future hasn't been written yet. No one's has. Your future's what you make it. So make it a good one. And if these kids choose to do that, then um, I think the Plainfield football in 2026 is going to have one of its best teams ever. So once again, your final score here tonight at Plainfield: the New Palestine Dragons 42, the Plainfield Quakers 7. Plainfield ends the season at 7-3. New Palestine advances to the sectional championship game against Cathedral next week at New Palestine. The Dragons are now 10-0. They've won their last 24 games, and they are going for their fifth state championship in the last 12 years. Well, this concludes your broadcast. As always, thank you for joining me, and I hope to see you again in 294 days. That's August 21st, 2026, as your Plainfield Quakers open the next season hosting the Terre Haute South Braves. Until then, for audiosportsonline.com, I'm Steve McAtee, reminding you there is a difference only you can make.